Hello, hello. Welcome to the podcast Theatre of Joy. Today we have on Agnotti, who I love her best as a clown, and that's why I'm so chirpy. Agnotti is an amazing clown, and we've learned a lot from her. She's also an interplayer. InterPlay is her what she does, and she is a deviser, a director, performer, a puppeteer, and a facilitator, and what she calls a maker of things. She loves to make things. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I remember the happy times that we've spent and she has spent in our house. And Agnotti?
Yes, thank you so much.
Hi. Welcome. And please tell us more about what you do and what you are and
Yeah,
just spread yourself out. I'd also love to hear more than I already do.
Yes. So I have always been interested in the performing arts since I was a young kid. I would invite people over to make things, make dances, make plays, have the adults come and watch by the end of the day, the end of that time together with whatever friend was over. And at the time, I didn't know that was the word for devising. So creating original performances through creative processes. So I've been doing that since I can remember, before I knew that it was a type of theater. And since then, I've been just exploring all of these different modalities in order to just go on this journey of what is performing arts to me and what does it offer to the world. And, one of those things is joy. And I'm so grateful to be here with you and be on your journey of this new podcast. Congratulations.
And what I've known about you and what I've seen about you is that you are joy and you spread joy wherever you go. And that's amazing. I'm so grateful to know you. And so how is a deviser different than a designer?
Yeah, deviser, is more about the theatrical journey that somebody goes on. Sometimes a designer is just designing something specific within that world, like designing the set or designing, the sound or the lights. But a deviser is actually creating the whole story, and it's usually in community. And that's what I really like about devising, is that it's not just my story or the playwright's story. We're actually developing the story from the people who are in the room, who are then going to perform the story. So it doesn't feel like, a narrow story. It feels like such a wide, open, connective story that really engages a community in a process. And I think also my favorite part about doing it is the process of asking the questions and playing with themes in a creative way. Oftentimes in the devising world, we say that the process is the most important part, and that, the product might not be like this shiny, thing, but it's really the process that really helps us discover so much.
That's so true. That's so true. And I love the paradigm shift that you made today in my world with the word deviser.
Yeah.
Designer is, a designer, and it's all about her or him, maybe a lot about her or him. But a deviser, you're right. How amazing is that? So would you tell the people who are watching a little more about your process?
Yeah.
How you bring everything that you do at one place or into it?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the project. Usually we start with a theme or an idea, and then you just have to keep playing. So you go back and forth between discussing the idea, talking about what the story could be, to just getting it on its feet. I think the most important part about devising is getting things on their feet as soon as possible, because you can imagine, but in performing, you don't really know until you try. So it kind of goes back and forth between this discovery of play and talking about, okay, what might that indicate to an audience? And what are we trying to, portray with this? What if we do this? What if we add that? And then trying those things. And I have a lot of like puppets and costumes and, things that can just add to the story. So we might take out some props to play with to see what happens with this or that puppet. But we really just try and open our minds and follow our curiosities. And being able to sort of listen to the group that you're playing with, that you're creating with, is also really important.
Yes. And, since a lot of people I know who are going to be watching, who also follow this process-based work, the product is not important. A lot of people have said that on the podcast also. So even the devising, or like you said, putting it all together, that is also not a lonely activity that you do it in front of your computer on your own table, but you do it together with everyone, right?
Yeah. And I mean, you can devise alone, but it's usually you're working on a solo project, So I might devise something that is, something that I'm just going to perform. So I am sort of working on something that could be a solo show. And at some point, I will need other people to share it with and to have some sort of eyes on it. In the theater world, we call it outside eye. Like, who is an outside eye that can sort of tell me what you're seeing, because a lot of our work is very physical. It's not very straightforward. It can be very like representational. So you might be trying to represent one thing, and then an outside eye might be like, oh, actually, I'm perceiving it this way. So I do devise alone a little bit, but there's always, kind of people that I invite into the process to share it with me.
And you're also, one thing I did not tell everybody, that you're also a physical theater performer. Yes.
Yes.
So how does that come in? And
Yeah.
for the benefit of our viewers, what is physical theater? Is it a category?
I think it's a larger category for many different types of theater. Like, I would say that clowning is under the umbrella of physical theater. Mask work is, there's a lot of like mime, and so a lot of those types of theater work under the umbrella of physical theater. But even using movement and dance, I use a lot of movement and dance and nonverbal ways of communicating, because I think sometimes for me it becomes a visceral response if I am a witness to something that is physical and visual, rather than like just talk 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 talk. So the type of theater I do involves the body, which is so important for humans to feel something. Incorporating the body can just get other humans to really feel whatever you're trying to portray to them, if you're incorporating the body in the performance of it.
Yeah. And, you know, when your body is going alongside with, you know, the figuring out, it's a different world. It's a different space.
Mm-hmm.
And without the body, it's a different space.
Yeah.
And I really agree with you. Embodiment is so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
That kind of leads me to the work that I do with InterPlay. InterPlay is an active and creative approach to unlocking the wisdom of the body. So doing that through play, through storytelling, movement, using our voices in new ways. And I sometimes describe it as getting back to the ways that communities used to relate to each other. So that is through story, through sound making, through dancing, through celebrating, through creating ritual that isn't prescribed to one type of people. So we get to sort of create ritual in the moment and through play. So this has been a really important, modality for me, both as a facilitator and as a person, because I'm more in touch with what my body is telling me. And I used to be a little sort of skeptical about body wisdom. I was like, what is that? But it's been so shifting, so that even when I'm performing and even when I'm leading or a part of a group, that I can keep center in my own body and make sure that things are aligning with what I believe in. And so much more. There's a lot of other sort of personal things that I continue to shape my life, having to do with my own body wisdom.
It's so important. Yeah. I've had a few sessions of InterPlay, and I love, the one hand dance has gotten me out of trouble, many times. And babble, I love babble. And just how, because the whole energy of that space that you're doing InterPlay in is about movement, about bodies relating with each other. And that's beautiful. That's really wonderful.
Human need, us. And that's why I like InterPlay, because it doesn't have to be performing, but it gets individuals connecting in a way that opens ourselves up to new possibilities. So it's a little bit more approachable for some people that aren't into the performing arts, that they can just share in partners about something, something random about their day, or, actually something really deep that's on their mind. It's just open for that sort of connection. And it doesn't have to be performance. It can just be people in communities sharing with each other and taking a deep breath and letting it out with a sigh.
Yeah, that's a wonderful one too.
Yeah.
And puppetry, you make puppets and you also perform with puppets.
Yeah, I make puppets, I perform with puppets. I've always been sort of a crafty person, and I
love that. Yes.
And, I'm not a trained puppet maker, but I have taken some classes, but I love to just take I took up pants and I made a really silly goose puppet out of a pair of pants that had a hole in it, so I couldn't wear them, so that's why I call myself a maker, because it's oh, I need this puppet, or I need this prop. I kind of just look through old fabrics that I have, and there's this amazing sort of thrift store for art supplies called the Waste Shed in Chicago. So I just go there and I'm like, what kind of looks like a puppet I might be looking for, and some sticks and, whatever else I need. But
That's the best part about, playing with stuff and getting something, out of it. Functional.
Agreed. Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed this journey of doing more puppetry, and it can be a really beautiful form for especially young people, for kids. I mean, it's for I've seen all kinds of puppetry and done all kinds of puppetry, but you can play 2 characters or 3 characters with your hands, and with your foot, with one of them, and
Your hands.
exactly. There's all kinds of ways that you can create more characters just by adding more puppets. And I've just been really inspired by also the body's connection to puppets, and how you can transform the way a body even looks or has dual meanings and characters just by shifting a puppet or adding a puppet on to the body.
Wearing a hat, which is a puppet.
Exactly.
But Agnotti, please tell us about your journey as a clown. How did you come to be a clown? What does it mean to be a clown? I hope it's not too much right now. I mean, yeah, but yes, that will be just amazing.
So, before I found clown, which I will tell you in a second, I had done some commedia dell'arte, and I was like one of the servant characters, and so they are sort of like very clown-esque and are always sort of like dumb and in trouble like a clown. I mean, not all clowns are dumb and in trouble, but often mine are. And so I had been doing that sort of type of theater, and all of a sudden I met Sukumani. Sukumani is like the first clown that I saw where I my jaw just dropped and I was laughing hysterically, and I saw Sukumani just transform into a different character just by simply placing the nose on, the red nose as a mask, you know what I mean? And
World.
And and so Sukumani was offering a workshop, and I attended, and, then, Sukumani and I became friends and collaborators, and we've been like working side by side a little bit. And Sukumani does all sorts of clown things. And, I've entered more into the world of stuff happening in Chicago, clown stuff happening in Chicago. And, it's been so organic, because I feel as though the clown has always been there. Like in my family, I have been the clown. I have been the person that's like making the joke or being the weird character, or, just like using physical comedy and, but definitely with like Sukumani's help, and, also learning by watching other clowns that I really admire, watching how they relate to objects or how they use their bodies to just shift really quickly,
Yeah. How are you different how's your clown different than what you are in everyday kind of beingness?
Yeah, well, there's this sort of sharing with the audience, that I might not do on the regular basis. I think I still sometimes, share what's going on with the people around me, but really a full body invitation into what the clown is experiencing at that moment and how exactly the clown feels about an object or about a situation. And I remember like Sugmani doing a little performance at this InterPlay event, and like I ended up getting stuck in this like in this sort of wheelie cart thing, and I legit got stuck. Like it was just like so funny. And
Like
then
you sing?
it was like one of those trolleys that is kind of like an L, and I was sitting on it, and then my butt got stuck like inside it. And you know, sharing that with the audience, like I'm stuck, oh, like what to
You
do,
know how to take it to the advantage of your clown.
exactly. And it was just interesting noticing the differences between the clown and some of the commedia dell'arte stuff, because commedia dell'arte, you are supposed to kind of do the first thing that comes in your mind, and with clown you love problems, is how Sugmani would describe it to me. Is like you just love problems. And so I had still the mindset of a commedia dell'arte performer. So when I was like, oh, I could get out of this, I just did, instead of just like milking it up like a clown. So it's just interesting to like expand and learn more of the options of that moment.
So how has your life been different after you discovered your clown, as I say?
Yeah, I feel more connected to audience, and I feel more sort of seen, because sometimes when you're a performer, you're like, okay, there's a fourth wall here, so I'm doing my thing, but like I'm in this imaginary world. But clowns break that fourth wall and really engage the audience. And so now I just feel so much more connected to audiences, about like my sort of like every reaction and every move. And I can just sort of sense audiences more and kind of pay attention and really like look into their eyes. And I think in my life, how it's changed like my life is that I can laugh at problems and like silly things a little bit more. I'm like, yeah, that was a clown moment, when
And
I
you
spill all the rice everywhere,
when you walk into a store to buy something, or when you're just in your family or something, a clown really comes to your help. Your clown.
Exactly. It's like I can take life's, ups and downs with a little more honesty.
Mm. Yeah, so I'm just wondering if people who will be viewing this actually know we are talking about the red-nosed clown, and it's not about doing clowning, it's about being a clown. Yeah, that is the quick kind of introduction to it. Yeah, so Agnotti, tell us about some experience in performance, in theater, in InterPlay, that uh, would help people know more about what all this is, or just anything that you'd like to share.
Yeah. So I recently came back from Bali in Indonesia, and I did a physical theater training there. And it was just incredible to be in a place where performing arts isn't necessarily performing arts, that it is an offering of a spiritual practice. You know, I'm not saying it exactly like a Balinese person would say it, but this is like just from my own experience. You know, we were able to learn some of the dances, the topeng dance, which is a warrior mask dance, and doing it in as an offering to both the spirit world and to the human world, who are there to enjoy, experience, be in the moment with you. It just that shift of, this is an offering. This isn't a performance. This is an offering. I am offering myself in this moment to whoever is here to witness. And that really helped shift some pressure I might put on myself to perform, you know, and especially in United States culture, I feel like there's just a lot of pressure to perform, you know, and there's standards and there's critiques and, you know, but what kind of shifted was just the sacredness of putting, you know, of the vulnerability of these performative offerings. And so I'm always just kind of curious and open to what else is out there. How else might I see this, and how else might I shift the way that I see the world, and even the way that I see my art making practice. So it that experience and the teachers that I met during my time there just created a sense of ease, and also that, you know, like, there's still an emphasis on practicing and, you know, practicing our art and, you know, just putting that love of practice into our art making, so that our offering can be what it is, can be as full as it is in that moment. And
many people in India would relate to that, because India is full of, you know, this, what you put so beautifully in words.
Yeah,
Makes
exactly.
a lot of sense.
There can be a lot of pressure around, you know, the quality of art. And, you know, I'm just trying to release that and really just come back to the play, come back to the practice, come back to the intention, come back to the honor it is to stand in front of an audience, to offer some sort of moment or experience to a group of people, to have time, to that these people are giving me their time of witness.
Yeah,
you know.
Wonderfully put. So true. You're touching so many chords in my heart. It's true. And you're putting it so beautifully that you must have embodied your experience in Bali, and, you know, and you've come back a better clown, I guess. I don't know if there's anything called a better clown, but, you know, I mean, and you, so grateful to have you in the world.
Hey,
Beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. You shifted something, yeah, here also.
amazing. And I'm just honored to have clowned with you specifically. I mean, those are some of my favorite moments of Ferdinand the Bull, and, you know, getting to clown with you in front of a bunch of children. How special.
Yes, and we have more clowning to do together.
Love that.
life is there, goes on. And that,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so much.